We are going to discuss about the shared variables. There are two kinds of shared variables in Spark are called like broadcast variables and the accumulator. Then we are going to discuss in detail about these two shared variables. So before moving to the shared variable, we should know how the normal variables behave in the Spark. When I say normal variables, these normal variables actually refers in a function closures. That means they are refer in the function closures in the driver node inside the task, and these are available to the every worker machine. Okay, now whenever we write any kind of code that is a part of the closure, whether it's a variable or a function, then it is available to every worker node in the cluster, and this make this inefficient. Now what happened for large variables like machine learning models, or if we have a large lookup table, then it become little inefficient. So now what happens, two things usually happen with the normal variables. With normal variables happen. Now, the first one is like these variables we has to deserialize. The variable has to deserialize. Okay, so this variable has to deserialize on the worker machine as many as time as we have the task. So that means whenever we have a task, then we need to deserialize those variables which are the normal variables. And second one, very important to understand this about normal variable, we need to resend to the network again and again for Spark jobs if the variable is used in that. So that means we need to take care of these two things, deserialize, as well as we need to resend the data or resend this variable to the network again and again for the Spark jobs if the variable is used. So now let's move to the shared variables. So what are shared variables? Now we can say that shared variables are those variables you can say that are required to use by many functions. Okay, so that I'm writing this like shared variables. So now the shared variables. So shared variables you can say are the variables that are required to used in many functions, and or you can say methods in parallel. So that means shared variables can be used in parallel operations. Now when the function is passed to the Spark, the operation just like a mapper or reduce, or you can say map or reduce, is executed actually on the remote cluster node. Now what happened in this you can say shared variables, like it works on separate copies of all the variable used in this function. So these variables are actually copied to the each machines, but the problem is there is no update, you can say no update of variable propagate back to the driver program. Now so just you can say shared variable is to you can say journal read and write shared variable across the task. Okay, during this process, if we do journal read and write shared variables across, you can say across the task, then it would be inefficient. So now there arises the concept of like shared variables. So one of the shared variables is your broadcast. Now the first shared variable is your broadcast. So now we can say that this broadcast is a variable that want to share across the cluster. That means this is a variable that want to share across the cluster. Now this share variable allows your program to keep a read-only variable, and that you can say cache on each machine rather than shipping a copy of it with the task. So we can say that it keeps a read-only copy. Okay, the read-only variable you can say, and it caches on each machine. The beauty of this, caches on each machine rather than shipping a copy of it with the task. So now for this, doing this, it uses a very efficient broadcast algorithm. Just to reduce the communication cost. Now this broadcast variable, or you can say broadcast, is used to give every node in the cluster a copy of the large input data in the efficient manner. So it is a duty, it is the duty of this broadcast variable just to provide the copy of the large data in a very efficient manner, and this broadcast is very efficient or very good in your join operation. Now, very interesting thing about the shade variable is that it is very much useful when we have a task across multiple stages. When I say multiple stages, I mean to say shuffle. It is very, very effective when the tasks across the multiple stages need the same kind of data or same data. Then it is very, very efficient. So in total, we can say that this broadcast variable is, you can say, is a shade variable. It is cached, and very interesting thing, it is a low level API. When I say low level API, that means I can use with Spark context, and this broadcast variable is immutable. That means it suits the different use cases, and it is definitely a distributed to the cluster. That means that is why name termed as a broadcast. Or you can say that broadcast variable is fit in memory. That means on one machine, not a super large. It is not a super large. That means it can fit in memory on one machine. So now these variables, you can say broadcast variables, are like your like static lookup table. So we also use this word very much in the broadcast, and internally it is handled just like, you can say, or handled by a torrent like, you can say, protocol. Okay, so this was about the broadcast variable. So now we can create this broadcast variable with the help of Spark context, and then we need to call a function called broadcast, and then I'm passing some dataset or a value. Now this broadcast variable is wrapped around the variable v, or you can say data v, and can be accessed by the value method. So we have a value method over here, and we can access this broadcast variable with the help of value method in the driver programs. Now just I'm using a Scala code. The Scala code will be like val broadcast variable sc dot broadcast, and then I'm using an array, and I'm passing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I can use this broadcast variable dot value, and then I can see the exact value in the driver program. Now, very interesting thing about this broadcast variable is after broadcast variable created, then once it is created, the broadcast should be used. That means this broadcast mechanism should, a broadcast variable should be used instead of, you can say, the value v, which we have used over here, this value. Okay, instead of that, so that v is not supported more than once. Now the second thing about these broadcast variable is the v should not be modified. That means it should not be modified after the broadcast, right? Because by doing this, all nodes can get because all the nodes get the same value, that is the broadcast variable. That is why it should not be, v should not be modified. Now to make analogy about the broadcast variable, we have the same broadcast variable in different technologies with different name. Let's say in MapReduce, it is called as a distributed cache, and in Hive, it is called as map site join. In Kafka, when I say Kafka, then it is a global K-table, or even in, you can say, Google data flow, or internally the Google data flow uses Apache Beam. Okay, so in this it is called as a site. So now the question arises when we should use this broadcast variable, when to use. Now let's say if you have large data or if you have large value, right, to use in the task, then in that scenario we can use broadcast variable. Or if there are more tasks than executed, so then in that scenario also we can use broadcast variable. Other scenario, when we have tasks across stages need same data, then also we have to use broadcast, which is more efficient. Or whenever we have the caching the data, you can say in deserialized form, then is very important. Now in this broadcast variable, we have different methods. So you can say first method we have seen is called value method, which gives the actual value of the broadcast variable in the driver program. Or another method we have unpersists. This method is actually removes the cache in the executors. And third method is your destroy. That means it removes the metadata information about the broadcast variable. Now, very interesting thing I want to share with this broadcast variable is that not only developer, Spark also uses broadcast variable internally. Okay, where it is used, this variables, broadcast variable, are used by the Spark to distribute the task to executors. Okay, for executions. So this is all about the broadcast variable. So now we have the second shared variables called accumulator. So we can say that accumulators are like the counters in MapReduce. So this variable actually add through the, you can say, associative and commutative property of the add operation. It needs this associativity as well as the commutative add operations, and this accumulator provides a very simple syntax for aggregating values from the worker node to the driver program. So it actually aggregates the, you can say, the value from the worker node and then provide it to the driver program. We can also say that this accumulator is used, like you can say, as a container for accumulating parallel values across the multiple executor. Now we can create this accumulator with like a named or unnamed as well as named. Now this accumulator is actually meant for your distributed counts and sums. Now natively what happens in the accumulator is, you can say, natively support for numeric type, but we can also add new resource type or new types in this, and we're going to see that how we can do that. Now, interesting thing about the accumulator that when the accumulator is accumulating, that the variable is at the worker node, it is actually accumulating. Then here the workers here the worker can't read the accumulator value, but they can only write to the variable. Usually what happens when you create an accumulator and then accumulator variables are incrementing in 5 different executors, which are where the task is executing, then this, if any of the executor is incrementing, automatically that value will be available to the other accumulator and automatically, but the worker will not be able to read the value, but they can write to the accumulator value. That means it can be added by the executor and read by the driver program, right? So here what happened, they uses the, like you can say, by using some method, or they can have this operations for executing everything. And when I say driver program, that means this driver program will give you the global value which has been added or incremented by the different executors. Now here, during this accumulator addition or incrementing, the update is performed is inside the action, and here this, during this, Spark guarantee that each task update to the accumulator will only apply it once. It means it's only applied once. The Spark will take care to just that task updates to the task update to accumulator will apply only once. So now let's see how we can create the accumulator, how we can create the accumulator logically. So that for that we have a values called, so now just to create accumulator, we have a Scala code, we have a val, let's say accumulator is my variable, and then here I am using the low level API with the help of Spark context accumulator, and then 0, and then my accumulator. This is the name of my accumulator, right? Now with the help of sc dot parallelize function, I am just creating an RDD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I am calling a for each method which will help to execute the task on each executor, and this is like a lambda function, and I am calling accumulator dot add of x, and x is coming from your RDD, right? Now in the end I can call the x accumulator dot value method, which will help me to knowing the value, and this will happen on the driver program, not the executor or worker. This accumulator can be used for like count, you can say sum or mean, max, minimum, some kind of variances or standard deviation. So it is used in all these kind of functions. Now let's say if we have to create a new type. Now let's say how we can create a new type. That means for creating a new type, we can create by subclassing. So we can create like custom code by subclassing the interface called accumulator param, and this is your interface, and then we need to implement this one, and this contains two methods. The methods are 0 and methods are add in place. So what does 0 do is 0 is actually provide 0 value for your data. And add in place is used for adding two values together. So this is all about the accumulator. Thank you for watching this video.